Viewers, you may have only read in books or heard from elders that if a person has the will, they can tear through mountains and make rivers flow through them. But today, this is no longer just a saying, it has turned into reality. And this has been demonstrated not by anyone else, but by the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. Yes, the same Burkina Faso, where once the soil was dry, the lands were barren, and people longed for a single drop of water. Today, on that same desert-like land, preparations are underway to create an artificial river, one that is expected not only to irrigate fields but also to transform the destiny of the entire nation. Ibrahim Traore has launched a project so ambitious that even the Gulf countries would call it beyond their wildest dreams. And in this video, we'll discuss this very project, so we urge you to watch until the end. Viewers, the progress of any country is not measured by buildings, roads, or weapons. True strength lies in the crops that grow from the land, the flow of water, and the contentment seen on a farmer's face. But for Burkina Faso, these were only dreams. This is a landlocked country, surrounded on all sides by land, with no access to the sea. And this land lacks even a trace of moisture. In fact, 70% of Burkina Faso's land is either desert or mountainous terrain, where bringing water itself is a mission. For years, the farmers have looked to the sky, praying for rain, and when it came, it was rare. With no rivers flowing, no streams running, most regions suffered from extreme drought. Crops would dry up, animals would die of thirst, and people would struggle for every grain of food. These were the conditions that not only crippled the economy, but broke people's spirits. And when there is no water, how can there be agriculture? When the land is dry, how can crops grow? This was the challenge that compelled Ibrahim Traore to do something no one had ever dared to think before. He realized that if they could just find a way to manage water, then all the other problems would resolve themselves. So, he made a decision. We will no longer wait for water. We will bring water to the land ourselves. With this resolve, he gathered the nation's engineers, agricultural experts, hydrologists, and experienced farmers in a secret meeting and presented a vision, a plan to build an artificial canal through the desert. A canal that would not only irrigate land, but empower the nation. His first question to them was simple: if rain is not in our control, can't we control the flow of water ourselves? There was silence in the room, but fire burned in Traore's eyes. He laid a map on the table with a long blue line running through it. This was the Burkina Canal, a project that would soon rewrite the history of Burkina Faso. According to the plan, the northern mountainous regions of Burkina Faso, where natural springs and underground water sources exist, will be collected and transformed into an artificial lake. This lake will supply water continuously to the canal. Solar-powered pumps will push water through the canal. The canal will be 276 kilometers long enough to flow from one corner of the country to the other. It will be 600 feet wide enough to allow agricultural trucks, water pipelines, and vehicles to move alongside it. Every 5 kilometers, smaller branches will be built to supply water to nearby villages, fields, and barren lands. Traore divided this mega project into 3 phases. First phase, digging the first 100 kilometers of the canal using 4,500 workers and 900 machines, many of which were old and neglected, but have now been repaired and brought back to life. 2. Second phase, complete the remaining 176 kilometers and construct the canal branches to distribute water to distant regions. 3. Third phase, build agricultural centers along the canal, establish seed distribution units, and launch mobile training schools to teach farmers modern farming techniques. The entire project is based on self-reliance, no foreign aid, no international loans, and no contracts with Western companies. The estimated cost is around $500 million to be funded by Burkina Faso's natural resources, gold mines, national savings, and public donations. The government will launch a special campaign asking every citizen to donate the cost of a single seed, promising to turn their land into gold. On Traore's orders, trees will be planted along the canal banks to prevent soil erosion and promote environmental well-being. Between these trees, grazing areas will be established for goats, sheep, and camels, so even animals can be part of this revolution. Paved roads will be built alongside the canal to make it easier for farmers to access their fields and transport crops to the market. It is estimated that 500,000 acres of land will be irrigated by this canal. In the next 5 years, agricultural output is expected to increase by over 60%, and exports will double, bringing in significant foreign exchange and placing Burkina Faso among the leading agricultural nations in the world. But this is not just an economic revolution. It is a spiritual movement. Traore personally visits the project site every week, stands with the workers, and shares meals with them. When the call to prayer is heard, the machines stop, and laborers, covered in dirt, bow in prayer. It's as if the land itself knows that it is about to be reborn. This is a leader who was born in a country where heat, poverty, and hardship filled every home, where people sweated day and night just to eat 2 meals a day, where parents would tell their children not to dream, because in Africa, dreams only increase hunger. But in those same dusty streets, on those broken school benches, a boy named Ibrahim Traore grew up, not with fear of poverty, but with a determination to change it. He knew that though the land looked dry, it carried seeds of resolve. Today, that same Ibrahim Traore has become the leader of Burkina Faso, a man whose decisions are not only changing Africa, but leaving a mark on the world. People used to call him a military rebel, but he's proven himself to be a true leader, not just governing, but writing history. His visions are not just canals, they are ideologies. Not just roads, but pathways to prosperity. As someone once said, a real leader is one who dares to light a candle in the dark. And Traore has become that candle, one whose light is now spreading not just in Burkina Faso, but across Africa. He says, "We must save ourselves, because no one else will come." And that is exactly what he is doing. This is a leader who lives like a son of the soil and thinks with the height of the skies. If you believe leaders like Ibrahim Traore only exist in books, it's time to share this message, so the world knows Africa has awakened. If you too want to see leadership in your country that brings real change, then be the voice of this dream. Share this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and demand a leader who loves the soil and lives for the people.